Well, the next discussion is power and purpose in your hands, building an inclusive future with technology and skills. It's clear that to solve climate change, financial inclusion, and other challenges, we need tech and STEM skills. So how do we empower young people to build up these skills and really participate in a sustainable, inclusive future? In this inspiring conversation, moderated by Matt Krentz, established, emerging, and young leaders from business, civil society, and other sectors, they will discuss the skills necessary to shape an inclusive future. Matt Krentz is Managing Director and Senior Partner at BCG, serving as its Global Diversity and Inclusion and Leadership Chair. BCG is also the Women's Forum's knowledge partner of the working group and daring circle, Women for STEM. Please join me in welcoming Matt Krentz and his speakers.
So good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to welcome you to this conversation. I think I was introduced as the moderator. I think it's probably going to be more facilitator, because I hope this is actually a good give and take of a conversation. I have some questions prepared, but I'm encouraging our panelists to actually engage with each other directly too, as you react to what thoughts people come with. But first, let me welcome Catherine McGregor, CEO of NG, to start our conversation. I appreciate being a consultant and traveling a lot. I appreciate you flying in from Singapore and making it just in time for this, just in time. So Catherine, maybe let me start with, why is it important and why do we have to care about having women actively participate in tech?
All right, and good morning, everyone. I'm very, very pleased to be here this morning with you. Maybe I will talk a little bit from the NG standpoint. NG is a very large utility company, which is extremely engaged in fighting climate change. Through what? Through driving the energy transition to a low-carbon economy. Having said that, it's a nice word, nice phrase. Behind that, it's a lot of very, very complicated challenges that need to be overcome, particularly when you consider that this energy transition, we need to drive it in an affordable way. The social cost of missing the affordability of the energy transition could be extremely high and could actually trigger a massive backlash socially to this energy transition, making that climate change fight almost insurmountable. So the path is very narrow. And for that, to find that path, we need everything. We need innovation, we need technology solutions, we need smartness, and we need talent. And that talent is a mega challenge. It is often limited, and we should, as a company, be, I think, setting ourselves for failure if we were to limit ourselves to half of the population that we have at hand. So first key point for me is the talent pool. And the talent pool, we need to tap into that talent pool as wide as possible, hence the need to have gender diversity. So obviously technical innovation, the more we can have STEM type of profile and have that talent pool as wide as possible, this is going to be a huge help for us to help find solutions to this climate change challenge. So I think there is a moral imperative, but a business case, and I'll stop here just to say that often I get very agitated. I'm impatient when people talk to me about business case, because for me, I tell them, well, that train has left the station a long time ago. Why are we still discussing the business case for gender diversity? But still sometimes, pockets of resistance, people not really understanding why it is such a priority for a company. So it's always good every so often to remind the business case. And yes, very important to have STEM talent, men and women in a company like NG, because we have so much to do.
And you mentioned, so what is NG doing to actually attract that kind of workforce, and thinking about what it takes to actively engage young women, more career, middle stage women in their careers, to take on that challenge and see that as a rightful place in their careers?
Yes, so we have structured actually our approach to attracting the female talent to NG. We have a program which we call 50-50, with the ambition to be at parity in all of our management layers by 2030. So we have a lot of work to do. Very structured program, things that are more within our control, which is recruiting, which is make sure that we have proper career development, making sure that we have the right HR process, the right talent identification. All this is very, very important. We're also working on something which is quite tricky, which is fighting the bias and the stereotypes one might have when, for example, imagining what is a typical managers for that position. Sometimes we have bias that prevent us from really spotting the right female talent. So we're working on also training our managers, men and female. But that's obviously necessary. It rarely is sufficient. You also have to make sure that the talent in the university is sufficiently represented. And so here we're working with obviously schools, with universities, to really show that, yes, we can have a fantastic career in STEM type of environment in the industry. Attracting women talent to industry is something I am personally very passionate about. And we have to go quite deep and quite far down into schools to show those careers and to show our role models. We have so many incredible role models within NG, so very, very proud to showcase them.
And does that even mean going to places maybe you haven't looked before, as you look for talent?
Yes, of course, you have to also diversify. Sometimes, in France, we tend to always recruit from the same schools. And so we're pushing ourselves to be a little bit more diversified in where we source our talent pool, for sure, including international talent, back from Singapore, incredible female talent there as well in Southeast Asia. So we need to make sure we tap into that as well.
So I'm actually going to invite 4 others to the stage with us. You saw 4 chairs. So Bernard Gavgani, the Chief Group Information Officer from BNP Paribas, and Dorothy Roche, Junis Lumban, and Sarah Kampanen. Could you please come on up? All right, now that we have the music to pump us up for this conversation, again, I encourage all of you to hopefully jump in here, but Bernard, maybe let me throw the next question to you. And for you, leading a tech organization, a large tech organization, why is it important to you that you're actually here today?
Good morning, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm coming here for repeat at least 3 points. The first is the importance of feminization of IT environment and IT world. This is challenging, and this is the most important priority for all of us, for all of the industry. And it's also challenging because in one hand, we have to work on our efficiency, and this is for ourselves, and also for our customers, and also for the society. Here I would like to take the opportunity to say for everyone is watching us that if you choose to come to technology the sector, be ensured that all companies will support you because really they need you.
So I'm going to ask a similar question I asked to Catherine. So how does BNP Paribas, what actions are you really taking to think about how to both recruit, but also retain and advance women? So not just get them into the funnel, but how do you actually think about building and getting to that change? Catherine talked about getting to 50-50. How do you make that happen, and what are you doing?
First of all, for me, and I'm sure that it's the case of people who are working in technology, that technology is not just for men or for the women. This is, everyone can do all those business or the job in IT, whatever, where they are coming from, the different skills that they have, even if we know, this is what people, they think that you have to be very, very engineer to work in IT. I can tell you that first, there is room for everyone in the IT and in the technology sector, and the women have the opportunity and the large opportunity to shine. And this is my first statement. And I would like to also say that the skills that we need can come from everywhere. I give you an example. A few years ago, the lady joined Group BNP Paribas as secretary, and she spent a few years as an executive secretary. During the organization in the bank, she decided to join IT production team and be part of the incident management team. And she learned many aspects of IT and the technology. And then another opportunity in the organization, she moved to human resources team. Knowing IT, being in human resources has a big value for everyone, for HR and also for the IT people. And then she took another opportunity to jump with some of training she got during her opportunity she could to move to cybersecurity team. So this is an example to say that you can move, you can be in the different horizon in the organization, and you not really need to have specifically the IT skills to work in IT side. So in my case, my own case, I have appointed several women in my executive committee to keep the balance between men and women in our side. We are working also with the different communities of as the Cyber Academy. We have the data economy, the academy, and the different environment that we train people inside of the bank. And also, we have we use also some relationship we have with the different universities to hire the students from the beginning to work with us. Maybe I can ask you just one question to you, if you allow me, is when you are, what do you look for or what do you seek, you expect from the companies when you are evolving in technology workforce?
So, hello everyone. I'm Janice, I'm 19 years old, and I'm a second-year student in engineering and computer science in EPITA in Paris, France. So I'm here as a Become Tech ambassador to inspire young people, especially young women in STEM fields, because we're still a minority in that. So I had short-term work experiences, but I'm still dreaming about my future life in the workplace as well. So what I expect from companies is that if they can share the same values as me, such as empathy and respect, it's really important, because as a future engineer, I will work with different persons, different teams, so communication and listening to each other is really important. Yeah, thank you. And also, companies that are champions in inclusion and diversity in regards to race and gender are also a must for me. As young women, Myself and my peers are looking for companies where we can not only grow, where we can not only learn, but also grow professionally. Once I enter the job market, I need to know that I can become a head executive. I will therefore look for a company that gives the same opportunities to everyone. Now, I don't have a specific company in mind, but I know that I want an eco-friendly company that have an inclusive environment. Because too often, women who work in male-dominated fields are set aside, and that's a problem. That's why I expect from companies to change this inequality. Because at my level, I'm already acting for change. Thank you very much.
Catherine, I think you want to ask something?
Well, yeah, before I ask my question to Sarah, I just want to tell Junice that she should definitely join NG. That was an easy shot, right? Sorry. So, Sarah, I have a question for you. So, we hear that, and we know, that the potential to use technology and STEM to address climate change or societal challenges is a big motivation for young people. Is this enough? And what kind of changes do you want to see to create good jobs for girls and women?
Thanks, Catherine. And good morning, everyone. My name is Sara. I'm originally from Finland, and I'm here representing Fora Network for Change, which is all about putting young women at the center of decision making. But I'm also a person in tech. I study emerging technologies, and I work for the world's largest startup event. So that's kind of why I'm also here. And I think you're spot on. Our generation is really or at least the fortunate ones who get to choose their job. Not everyone is in that position, but the ones who are that fortunate, I don't think job security, salary, or really cool benefits are going to cut it anymore. I think this generation is really looking for making or finding sense of purpose also in their work, and especially considering that I think this generation is really acutely aware of the tectonic changes and challenges that we're facing. It's not good enough to anymore be on the sidelines. We need to know that we're at the center of solving those issues. So that's that. I also love to build on kind of Bernard's answer and say that I think you're right in the sense that what makes a job or a workplace good for a woman is pretty much what makes a workplace good for a man. We're not UFOs, you know, we are just the same. We want to be, you know, welcomed. We want to feel that when we voice our opinion in a boardroom or give an example or take an extra job, that we can be appreciated, that our voice is heard. We want to know that we're rewarded for the extra work when we put it in. So I think it's quite simple. What is not simple, and maybe this is a little bit too philosophical for this conversation, is the fact that I find myself in these spaces being continuously framed as the other. You know, there's men and women, we are the secondary sex. And I feel like as long as we keep on framing, and especially in the tech world, you all the time hear about female founders, female CEOs, you know, female founders. I'm tired of it. I'm not a female founder, I'm a founder. I'm a female leader. I'm not a female leader, I'm a leader. So I think we're not longer, most of us are not longer acting or treating people out of malice, but we're treating them because we're constantly framing women as something else. So I think that's something that we can start with.
Well, I echo those things. That's actually, I think it's really true. And I think we've done some work looking at how female executives succeeded. And we surveyed over 750 female and male executives. We talked with more than 70 women in tech leadership roles. And one of the things that kept coming over and over was the importance of mentorship. And the sad part was it turned out that through our research that women tended to not sustain the mentorship roles as long as men did, and often had much shorter times where they were really getting mentored. Dorothy, I know you're leading an organization that's really trying to change how young women girls actually think about tech, but also advance in that. How does your organization really try to, for those young women coming into it, help them have the mentorship or find their path in tech?
Hello, Matt. Thank you for this question. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Dorothée Rock. I'm co-founder and director of a non-profit organization. It's called Become Tech. And as you said, our aim is to reduce gender inequality in IT by developing program for teenage girls. So we have 3 main projects, and that's true that we begin our first project when we first meet girls, and our last action is lasting forever if they want to. So what we do, first of all, is we are developing awareness campaigns in high school to give the opportunity to girls to discover that there are plenty of opportunities in IT fields. But it's not enough. Then what we do is we are proposing girls Jump in Tech program, which is a 4-week digital training for girls. It's totally free. All girls can participate, as Janice did. There are no academical criteria, so it's really for all girls. And during this intensive immersion, they will develop their digital skills. They will learn how to code. They will learn how to do communication, digital communication, and they will also meet companies and these employees, the employees of these companies. And after this second program, they have more confidence in their abilities to develop their digital skills, and they are really conscious of the context of gender inequalities they could face in the future. Nevertheless, lots of them have really developed a strong interest into tech careers. So they begin to be part of what we call Become Tech's ambassadors community, and we continue to support them in the long term. This is really crucial to work in the long term because, as you said, they will have to face some difficulties specific to being a woman in a male-dominated field. So this community decided to develop, as Janice said, some actions to change the world they will have to face when they will enter the workforce. They begin by raising awareness with their own community, but then in the university, and it's such audiences as today, as you just did, Janice. And they also have this role of helping each other, getting new opportunities, because they are now from 14 to 24 years old, and they have opportunities to bring to the youngest of us, and to bring also to, for instance, the youth delegates that are here. So they are really committed to have an impact on gender inequality in IT.
Do you have a reaction?
Just a reflection on the mentoring and the fact that indeed, and while I hate stereotypes, it looks indeed that women tend to spend a bit less time investing into mentoring and networking. And I was actually in Asia this week, and I interacted with our local women network, which they had just founded. So it was quite exciting to be discussing with them. And we had great discussions, and they asked me all kind of things, including, you know, what kind of partner do I need to choose to be able to be successful. So we had lots of fun. And at the end, though, one lady asked me, but am I really at ease that we have a female network event? What does that mean? Does that mean that now I will get the next promotion because I am a woman? And I was so surprised that, that self-reflection that some women can have on this ability that we give them to just be together and create relationship and friendship and support each other, that even that, some of them felt if we were doing too much for women. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I think this is a bit of a internal obstacles that we still have sometimes.
And I also think men often naturally navigate and perform those things
that was
much
my
more
answer.
so, and
That
and
was
as a
my
result,
very strong
yeah.
answer to them.
Sarah, one of the other things that our research showed, and this is, I think, I often hear the next generation or the young generation looks to change jobs across their career. And the interesting part of looking at that leadership and tech research was that men often change jobs and companies much more frequently than women did. And oftentimes those are opportunities that allow you to advance in your career. How do you think about taking risk? I mean, you're a tech entrepreneur. How do you think about women taking risks, whether that's within their own organizations or to jump and start a venture or do that? And do you see that as a different challenge for women in this environment?
Yeah, great question. First off, I think overall this generation won't be having lifelong jobs anymore. That's just something of history. I think of my mom or my dad, they were in the same department or same company for 10, 20 years. That's not going to be the case anymore. We're going to be shifting fast from one place to another. But when I think about what makes a person more likely to feel comfortable to do that comes down to me to one simple question. When things get tough, do you bet on yourself or do you back down? And I think, unfortunately, in many cases, or not many cases, but in some cases, women hesitate on that. And I think that's for the before-mentioned reasons, the fact that we still frame women as kind of these exceptional. When they succeed, it's exception. When we have a female CEO, it's an exception. We always highlight them as these others, these exceptional figures. They're not exceptional. Or they are exceptional, but that shouldn't be considered because of their gender. So I think that's one aspect. But I think there's also, on a more practical level, ways to make people feel comfortable to take risks. And I think we mentioned already some of it. And I was really fortunate to participate at Fora Network, which, as said, is all about bringing young women at the core of decision-making processes. And I participated at their 2019 Global Summit in Tokyo, where we brought, I think 24 incredible women from all around the world to, work on getting three major assets. And those were role models that can inspire and we can relate to, because we need to look up to someone, to have the skills and self-awareness, to know where we have the comparative advantage. And then lastly, networks. Those are the people that we rely on when things get really tough. So I think those are kind of the three assets that we should be able to provide for young girls and boys everywhere. And maybe for the specific reason, like we heard already, or what I do at Slush, for example, we bring founders to our stages, we bring operators, we bring investors. And it's not about having 50-50 category divide on our stages. It's about bringing role models. And that doesn't only just mean gender, but different economic, societal backgrounds, different stories, whatever it is. And I think it's all about seeing someone you can relate to and then feeling like I can be there too. So that's the role models. Then at Fora, what I think we did, or they do really well as an organization, is that they really put a lot of time in the young women understanding kind of who am I, what can I do, and I think self-confidence comes from kind of being able to admit where I might fall short and where I have the comparative advantage. So we did a lot of that. And then lastly, really the networking aspect. And I can say, because I'm very self-aware, that I'm a really good networker. I can strike up a conversation in an airplane, or a train, or a bathroom stall. I don't care. I can talk to. And I can say that because I have worked on my self-awareness. So I know that's my comparative advantage. But it's not for everyone. So I think it's also about creating spaces like Women's Forum or Fora, where we can network in our own terms. And I think if we can get those three things in order, and I think we're already getting there, and we can stop framing women as the other, I think we're in a good spot.
One thing you said early on, which was, when things get tough, do you step back or step forward? And I've observed the last 18 months or so as we've all lived through the pandemic, and I'm going to pivot this a little bit to Bernard and Catherine. I also see when things get tough, and it's often been tough on women during this time who are often balancing and taking on more on the home front. Do companies step forward or do companies step back? And as you've thought about retaining women, and you heard Sarah say, well, I only plan to be at an organization for a while and move. How does that impact how you think about engaging, supporting employees and making sure that at times of stress, you don't lose that great female talent in particular? Does that, and how do you go into that? And
I mean, there is no magic wand, obviously, and I don't think there is a process to do that. But this is management, talent, and skills. So making sure that our managers are reminded of the importance to be very close to their people individually, and to really listen to them again individually, not just as a team. To have this one-to-one proximity to fully understand their context. It's not just about, what you're doing today or are you delivering, but also what is your context, what's happening at home, what is your partner situation, do you have your kids at home or can they go to school, and what is it that you're living through? That is really important, and this is a message that we have passed to managers to make sure they spend extra time on these one-to-one discussions to really understand the context of every one of their employees. We're not perfect, but that's really, for me, the most effective thing we should be doing as a company.
yeah, Bernard.
I think this is, as you said, Catherine, this is not the magic formula here to say, but we have to have the empathy of everyone. We have to be interested on all the skills that we have. In IT, the big challenge for the IT manager like me, that my team is around 35,000 IT engineers, is to keep the talents. And keeping the challenge is not just a statement, is by action, being close to the team and do it and make it and give the opportunity to everyone to learn and be at the top level of their own expectations.
And I think the era of when a company could have people show up from work from 9 to 5, and when you were there, you focused on your people and what they were doing, and then they left and you didn't care about what actually happened beyond. We no longer live in that world. Our world and our work with remote work, with flex times, they're with email, with Slack, they're all more intertwined. And I agree with you that as a manager and as a leader, you need to actually think about how do you balance and integrate all of that. And that's, as you said, doing is actually often harder than making that statement, and it's one of the things I think as all of us we need to much more focus on. So we're at the rapid fire part at the end here, and Dorothy, I'm going to start with you. This is if you had a call to action that you would like to transmit both to Bernard and Catherine, or more generally, what would that be?
Well, it's a general call to action. I would, at Becomtech, we have trained more than 300 girls for these 5 past years. So we have developed an expertise on how to train girls in an impactful way. So we are very convinced of the power of active learning, of learning by doing. And so my call to action would be, if you have the opportunity to raise awareness on inequality in IT, please do it. But if you could also take time to share your skills, to give girls opportunity to develop their own digital project, it would be so impactful. So please take the time to do it, to let them have the same opportunities to build our future.
Sarah?
Yeah, I think my call to action is kind of two-sided. There's one for the people in the audience and online as well, who are at the beginning of their careers. when you face a problem, run towards it, especially those problems that no one else seems to care about. We always say at Slush that we build companies and we solve problems that we ourselves face. So if you feel frustrated by something, run towards that problem, find solutions, because no one else might. And then for the people who are already maybe ahead of us and have the resources, fund those problems, or not the problem, but the solutions for the problems. If you feel like something should be already ancient history, fund it. Because we still know to this day that in 2019, it was 82% of all, for example, venture capital went to all male teams, not teams with male founders, but all male teams. And it only got worse in 2019, 2020, and this year. So let's put the money into women as well.
Eunice?
My call to action is especially for boys and men. I want to see more men committed to gender equality. This battle is for everyone. We all have to raise awareness, because this battle will not be helpful for women. It will not be only a freedom for us, but also for you men.
So we are 68% men in IT community, and our objective is to bring, to balance it 50-50. We have decided with the HR team to add 1,000 women in IT from now to 2025. And this is what we will do. And just to say one word about what you said is that with HR we have defined 85 new skills and jobs in IT. And those are not only from the engineers' skills, it's the skill of everyone. And I call, if you are interested to see those 85 new skills and you can find your future, you are more than welcome.
Cap?
Just maybe a quick message to the young ladies in the room and in the audience, as well as the companies, to make sure that they come to science and technology type of careers. For them, I can assure you that we can have a lot of fun in science and technology type of careers, a lot of fun. And for us companies, we need to continue to make sure that it remains fun. So double responsibility here.
So, on behalf of all of us and us in the audience, thank you for each of you for coming, sharing your thoughts, and I think some inspiring words, hopefully, for people in the audience and online, and have a good morning.
Thank you.